Welcome to SOULutions, where men come out of the shadows to testify, giving tips in manhood, honor the codes of integrity, and give out real solutions for soul survival. I want to announce my first book, 10 Most Effective Ways to Reignite Self-Love. It's a deep reflection and deep dive into yourself, how to make yourself better overall. Check it out. It's available in paperback, ebook, and audiobook. If you want more info, email me at soulutionsformen@sheen1.com or the author at sheen1.com. Let me know. You can RSVP one if you like. Now back to the show. Today, we have on the show an educated brother, a man who speaks his mind, a man who's a father, and he's always on time. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jazzman Wideman.
What's happening? What's happening? How is everyone? Hope everyone's well. Appreciate the opportunity, brother.
Hey, man, you know, I had to give out the name that we call you. I know that's not your full name, but that's what we're going to go with today. Is that cool with you, brother?
I'm with it, man. I'm with it.
You feeling all right today, man?
Yeah, man. Doing pretty good, man. Had some issues working through it at work with this whole COVID pandemic. Kind of got everything in an uproar. I lost one of my team members to yesterday to COVID. So it's a wealth of knowledge that I had on my team that is irreplaceable. And, so we're trying to work through that. You know, you never want to lose anybody, of course. And, just prayers out to his family.
It's amazing that we don't recognize that we are each other's libraries in so many things. And that's a terrible situation. And yes, prayers and blessings go out to his family. Absolutely.
Word.
That is tough, man. This pandemic really either educated you to be better or it just made you a non-believer that nothing's there.
I agree. I agree on multiple levels. One thing it did for me, I will say this, and I say this both candidly and meaningfully. This separated people, in my opinion. COVID separated people. This whole pandemic, you either know exactly who you are and where you're going, or you're lost. There's absolutely no in between in this. And I'm seeing both. I'm seeing both. And it kind of helped me determine, I see myself, one of my favorite people ever in the history of life, just by doing my reading and studies, is Harriet Tubman. I'm going to carry you with me as long as you know which way we're going. But as soon as you deviate from knowing where we're going, then I got to get rid of you. And it's kind of, that's where I met with it mentally. I kind of carry that spirit with me. And I see a lot of division when it comes to that, people not taking things as serious. I'm not saying that, just because you woke, you don't have to be, candid sometimes. But, a lot of people just, moving along like, nothing's happening. And I can't sit well with that.
It's a lot to digest, to take in, and also show that a lot of people's not versatile. And for me, when I look at it musically, when I see the music still coming out, the energy level that we're still giving off, like most of us were sitting home during COVID, but we all still got the Glock 40s loaded and ready to go, and we're serving fiends and still on the corner. And I'm cool with that music, but I was cool when it was actually real. And I was cool with it when it was. Now we're creating this new magic, and now you see a lot of rappers just dying. We're creating a lot of power through the tongue that's not real, and that's causing a problem for us, man.
And that's pretty much my whole point. Either we woke or we're not. That's the whole point.
A lot of power through
the tongue. I got a question for you, real quick though. Speaking of music, every generation, during certain time frames, during the 60s, 70s, 80s, even the 90s, there was a song, there was music, multiple songs within a generation that connected with our people, whether it's James Brown, Say It Loud, I'm Bracken, I'm Proud, or Public Enemy, Fight the Power, or Change Gonna Come, Sam Cooke. Listen to this music now, man. I got nothing.
there there is nothing out there that gives that rhetoric, but there are songs that speak to the escape that people wanted in the music. Because in those days, we had love and diversity, but we slowly became the distributor of drugs and we became the users. So once we became the users, now you have to look at the point as a whole in the music. We became the users of the drugs, right? So now you have to look at the anthem for the users. So in that rhetoric, there are songs that represent the moment where we all became users, not us per se, but the actual streamline of the music. People became users, people became dealers. Everybody had this type of car. It became a hustler's anthem because it was open for everybody to try
Word.
to make music to support their family, and people do whatever they have to do in order to make that change. But it also opened up a lot of other cultural positions in the way they discipline each other, and we invited that into our cultural stream. Like being gangster, we're not really gangsters, but we adapted into that crime wave, into that mentality. And the problem is we don't have structure. We don't have
Word.
structure with that gangster way. It's fleeting. We had it, and all our OGs either got locked up or the next generation didn't want to listen. We don't have the structure for any of that stuff, good or bad, in my
Agreed.
opinion.
Agreed.
Let's get this show started. What person did you meet or see
Let's
that
go.
gave you the drive towards the man you are today? Who defined you?
My dad, without question. I was fortunate enough to, grow up in a household with both my mother and my father. I didn't have superheroes as a role model. Most kids had Spider-Man, Superman, our generation, He-Man, but I didn't have that. I always looked to my father. My father was my superhero. He was virtually everything that I needed to see. Um, Interestingly enough, you know, um, how candidly can I speak
You can
here?
speak how you want to speak, sir. This is SOULutions. Give your solutions, and we appreciate it all.
Okay, word. My father was a street nigga, okay, but he educated himself. I remember being 5 years old and he take a night class at a local tech school for management, and he ended up landing a role at Clemson University as a general manager over Aramark, which is the food service basically, and that fed my family for a very long time. So I kind of saw the progression from, just kind of hustling his way through to corporate America. And he took that street mentality that he's always had to the corporate world. And, I've been able to, navigate pretty much the same way. So my dad's my driving force.
It's a fire inside of us that runs very deeply. Some of us use what our tools are to not fit into other cultural formats, but we have to remember the game was never made for us. So for your dad to understand that and to move to the next level and adapt paperwork, adapt to structure and the things that they have in place and still thrive instead of surviving, that is a great story all in its own. I can also relate to my father being very into the streets and taking that same energy and structure and putting routine to his work for the results that he has. One of the big things a real good street dude that people understand is that their routine which makes them successful. The repetitive routine that they have every day to do what they have to do every single day to make sure they bring in this type of money. Now, what you do with your money, just like with any other circumstance, defines who you are, because money is just a tool. But the routine and the hard work and the amount of hours that were put in, especially back then, just to solidify who you were, is also something that you can really look at the energy and the power that you designed yourself to be behind, and I respect it. Do you have a vision board?
Right. Yes, I do. I update it periodically. You know, it's not just a board that I use though. Things that I look at regularly, whether it's my laptop, my desktop, or even my cell phone. I keep little things on those, like on my home screen. Um, there's a house that I'm currently a homeowner. I own a couple of properties, but there's a house that I want to be my end all be all house, my lay it down house, my end game house is what I call it.
Lay it down.
Yeah, you know, the one to where once you get there, you know, it's a wrap pretty much. You know, you're just gonna chill there till the end, you know, till it's your time to go on to the other round.
Mm.
You know, I've got that on my home screen, for my cell phone. You know, there's a vehicle that I admire, you know, that I keep on my laptop. You know, and there's certain things that I want to accomplish that I got on my my pin board basically. So yeah, I have multiple things that I would utilize as a vision board.
Well, let's dive into that for a second. Talk to me about visualization. Talk to me about willing things to existence, because it seems that you have this picture on your phone and on your pin board. Do you believe in willing things or energies, or uh, talking to the universe about what you want?
Yeah, man, energy is, you know, Newton's law. We learned that in science. Most people don't even pay attention to it. We learned it in elementary school. Neither energy is neither created nor destroyed, just transferred from one entity to the next. I'm just trying to. I mean, the universe is full of it, and whatever my mind focused on, that's what energy I'm getting. So I got to be able to visualize and see exactly what I want or what I want to get to. So if I don't visualize it or see it, then I'm basically shooting myself short. I'm shooting myself short. So that's on me. You know, you got, you know, one thing that you know, over time you'll learn that whatever you focus on, if you focus on the negative, and interestingly enough, um, you know, we were doing a thing back in the hood with, you know, a voters registration drive back in September, just to make sure that we got our people registered to vote. And, you know, one of my friend's dad, came to me, and he and I had a conversation, and, um, you know, I had to apologize to him because I bought into the stigma of black fathers don't exist, because that's what I allowed my mind to think, because I heard it and I allowed my mind to think that. You know, even I had my own father, but you know, even my friends had their dads, you know, but that's just what I focused on. So I allowed my mind to go there. You know, black men, this, that, and other, black fathers don't exist, but really, in actuality, they were right there. I just chose to focus on the negative. So, you know, with that being said, like your mind pretty much programmed to whatever you focus on. So if you focus on things you're constantly seeing, then there you go. And that's kind of the same concept for some of our youth that's, you know, that's in the hood system. They're stuck in, you know, they're stuck in the, you know, the projects or whatnot. Now, how they're growing up there, that's what they see. They see that negativity. So that's what we, you know, we grow up in. That's all we know. That's all we see every day. And you know, it's all about what you program your mind to. If you will it, if you speak it, you talk it, you walk it, you act like it's already there. You talk like it's already there, and it show up for you like it's, you know, like it's nothing.
But how early did you start? How early did you recognize the universe was talking? Talk to me about how you recognized it and when you recognized it.
Um, that's tricky, man. Like, I mean, we all see it early in life, but we don't know what we see. We don't really understand it. You know, sometimes you read things, you just don't understand it, man. You know, there was a Vietnam vet, man. He was a fiend in our hood. Smart guy, extremely smart, but of course, you know, being a Vietnam vet, he got strung out on drugs while he was over there, and just came back different. And he gave me this book back in my early 20s called Behold the Pale Horse. And he was like, I was like, why you giving me this? He was like, you ain't like the rest of these niggas out here. You need to read this. And when
Mm.
I picked it up, I'm like, it was too much for me at the time. Like I couldn't grasp it. Like I wasn't mentally there, but I held on to it. And as time progressed, like okay, I I get it now. I pick up on some of the stuff that it's saying in there. I could relate to it. I guess time and experience kind of give you the tools that you need to be able to understand certain things. Like you can give somebody $1,000,000 that has never had any money before. That doesn't mean they're gonna understand what to do with it. But you give somebody who had a little bit of experience with losing something, or or even working for something, they'll know exactly what to do. So it's pretty much how. So we all had experiences early. We just didn't understand what that was. So I would say by the time I started recognizing it, man, I was in my late 20s, man, early 30s. Like it's about 30 years old when I started seeing different signs or recognizing different things or even certain energies. You know, people start walking into a room and you start understanding like what their presence is. Like, man, this, how you feel a certain way when somebody comes around, whether it be it good, be it bad, like you start to understand what those things are. So it's not, you see it early, but I didn't start recognizing it until about my 30s, man.
Behold the Pale Horse. That's a book I keep hearing about that I actually have never read, but I know the premise behind it, and for what I'm told, that it kind of predated everything that is going on today. Like the author himself was assassinated because of his teachings in this book. Back when the assassinations,
William Milton Cooper.
Yeah, back when assassinations actually were a thing for people. Now we're kind of desensitized to it, but back then it was a big deal. You say that you started to separate yourself and started noticing energies and building yourself up. Tell me, what did you sacrifice for those goals to know these things?
Everything, man. People, time, even family, man. Um, everything, everything. Like that's one thing a lot of us don't talk about is what we sacrifice to kind of be where we want to be. Um, you know, there's a saying that behind every great man is a great woman, and depending on who our mate is, determines the outcome of our future, basically. You know, I once I started on a journey of self-discovery, also on being in a place of where I wanted to be, where I saw my future going. I would share those things with my then spouse. It was like those energies didn't match up. On paper everything looked good, but once you start trying to produce, bring to life or birth certain things, and it didn't really work out that way. And that's something that and to be in a position of where I can make moves now, like my marriage suffered, unfortunately, and that just is what it is. But that's not saying anything bad about who my spouse was at the time, because I don't think she's a bad person at all. It's just that at the end of the day, our visions didn't really correlate for what I see. And my dad always told me, shoot for the moon. If you come up short, you still in the stars, and you're still in a whole nother stratosphere where most people ain't gonna reach. You not have that mentality. A lot of people they get into a comfort zone in their wheelhouse and they like to stay there. That's not me. I've never been that person. I've never been the type to just settle and that's okay. You're gonna once you develop a sense, and the universe is gonna tell you. The universe is gonna tell you, like, you're gonna know exactly what your purpose is in life. And once you understand that purpose, there's no wavering from that. Regardless of who's there, who's in your life at the moment, you're gonna, you can't go against. That's almost like going against God. You can't fight God. This is not gonna happen. You're not gonna win. You're not gonna win. This is what I have for you, my child. This is what I need for you to do, X, Y, Z. You're gonna need to do these things. And some things, some people, even some of your family, they're not gonna understand. They're not gonna know. One of my missions in life is to help, to start the process of building generational wealth. A lot of us are leaving the earth our parents are leaving the earth with this things for us to have to continue to do. We're not inheriting a lot with our people, like we're just not. And that's something that's kind of been, of course, a lot of it is systemic, but some of it is basically our own fault, just due to lack of education or ignorance or refusal to grow. And just in being that person, I butt heads. I caught myself butting heads with family sometimes because they don't understand what I'm trying to do. And that's fine. You don't have to understand it, but this is what I'm going to do. Either either you're on board or you're not.
Well,
Either you're going
talk to
to,
me about that. Can you give us a how, and then give us a why, and then give us like an example of how did you get past the emotions of having to say, you know what, I can't stay with you here. I got somewhere to be.
um, it's it's difficult, man. It is difficult because, again, as you know, especially when you have your own family with that person, it's difficult. It's difficult as heck. Because at the end of the day, I still have a ton of love there. But in order for me to blossom into who I need to be, I have to, I got to do this. And, it's the emotions of it all, man. Emotions what really want to make you stay. But that burning desire, like, man, like it's what, either you're going to be miserable because it's things that you want to do that you can't, or it's a catch-22. It's a double-edged sword. Either you be miserable and stay, or be miserable and leave, because none of it is the best case scenario, truthfully. Like,
Well,
it sucks.
well, you just spoke of if you give a man $1 million and he's never had money before, he doesn't know the pitfalls. But you give a man $1 million who's already lost something, he'll know what to do with his money. Talk to me about when you're someone's preparation but not their destination in a relationship.
Um, we got to be careful of who we attach ourselves to. There's a difference in between a cover and a lid.
Mm.
A cover keeps us safe when we need to be. A lid keeps us where we are. So once you lose something that you yearned for, and it's no longer it's no longer there, you still have a respect for it. You have a respect for it because it's still, like I said, it's always a part of you. You have a respect for it, you reflect on it, and you recognize it for what it was. And truthfully, I can't say that I would have been able to find this individual without being there in that place. But once it happens again, I know what to look for. I know what signs that I need to see. I know what a certain person needs to possess. I know, I don't really need, a lot of people say I'm not really looking for love. I'm looking for teammate. That's at the end of the day, that's what it's about, is teammates. There would never, I don't care what nobody say, Michael Jordan would not have won championships without Scottie Pippen. No question. No question.
So
Teammates make that thing function.
at the end of the day, you're looking for another corporation to merge your business with so y'all can grow and get a bigger IPO.
Let's go.
That's-
Let's do it, man. Let's do it, man. And that's a lot of times that's a difficult thing. It's not an easy process. It's not an easy process, but it's necessary in some cases. And again, like I said, no love lost. And I see relationships as business. I do, because that's exactly what they are. I mean, once you get married, that is a business entity. That is a corporation. And unfortunately, businesses fail every day. And that's just a part of the process. And what did I learn? What did and you just take I take what I've learned from that particular business venture and build upon the next one.
It's interesting that we gave that type of analogy. I'm gonna shift it over a little bit. I once watched Dr. Miles Monroe, a preacher that passed some years back, but he has some great information out there for men. He spoke of Adam and Eve in the garden, and he spoke of before Eve came, the first thing that God gave Adam was work. And he has an entire analogy saying work comes before a woman. How do you feel about that?
That's true. Because in order to properly take care of woman, you have to have the know-how to work. And if you don't have that, you ain't gonna be able to take care of a woman, because being with a woman is actually work. So they're kind of hand in hand.
It is work. Talk to me about your lowest moment. Let's dive a little deep here. Your lowest moment, but not only talk to me about it, let me know how you got up for the people out there who might be dealing with whatever you're about to say right now.
I've had two. I've had two. First one took place in 2002. I was 20 years old, man. Junior year in college. We were at South Carolina State. It's where it was exactly where you and I met, college. Uh, as I've stated, my father was a street cat. He was a, to say the least, I mean, he was a corporate cat in the day, making deals with, NFL executives, and candy bar executives between M&M, Mars, Skid, and Coca-Cola, the Carolina Panthers, all that, and at the end of the day, he's selling the brick. That's how I came up. That's how I grew up, so I've saw every side of the world that I could possibly see, from, dope things to suit and ties every day. Like, I've seen it. And, it came to a point to where, once I got to college, some of that stuff just kind of fell into my lap. I had an opportunity. Well, I don't even want to say it's an opportunity, but, if you're giving pounds of weed for dirt cheap, what you gonna do with it? I mean, I saw myself with a business opportunity, but unfortunately, in April of 2002, through a confidential informant who you and I both know, but I won't say no names. We'll just leave it as is. It's water under the bridge at this point. Through a confidential informant, I was arrested for manufacturing and possession and distribution of, controlled substance on a college campus. That is a felony. So to this very day, I am a convicted felon. And that was my low point at that point in time, because how we say certain things. That was one of the moments in where I learned to listen to the universe, because when that deal happened with that confidential informant, every fiber in my being was telling me, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, walk away now. But I went ahead with the transaction anyway. And the reason why that was my low point is because I lost myself there, and I had to regain exactly who I was. I had to remember, I had to find who I was. I went to a spiral of depression because a lot of people didn't know what I was doing. Nobody had a clue. I kind of was low key with it. Like, I was extremely low key. Nobody knew. But then the next day I went from a low key, and, I had good grades, man. I'm, A-B student, class every day. I ain't miss a class. And then next thing you know, I'm over every newspaper in Orangeburg. I'm all over the news. Like, it's, my face is everywhere in a negative way. And I see that as my low point, because, I not only did I lose who I was, but I made a disgrace to my family name. So much high expectations for me. And I let my people down. I let my ancestors down in that moment. And that's a heavy load to carry when you know better, but you chose to do otherwise, and people start coming at me different. People that I thought were my friends turn their back on me, and people that I never talked to a day in my life all of a sudden want to be friends. So now I'm having to learn how to balance that and figure out who's who and what's what, and relearn life again, because it was all different.
Let me stop you right there. Let's dive a little deep into that situation right there. See, for me, when I hear what you're saying, and in retrospect for myself, sometimes we don't know that our lifestyle is not normal, if that makes sense. Sometimes we don't know that carrying a gun everywhere you go is not normal. Sometimes we don't know that drive-bys, people being shot from your neighborhood is not normal until you reach another place of an environment that shows you something different. So at that time, I want to say you just operating out of normality. And I think
Well,
what hit
yeah,
you, what hit you was the conflict between you saw this might not be normal. This might be. I'm living in this normal society with my grades and going to school, and you start experiencing other energies, other people who didn't even think how you thought. And I think that's the biggest thing about college. Like, I don't want to dive in too much. I want you to please continue, but my mentality when I got to college was I'm a loner, I'm a rebel. I'm from New York. In New York, people don't talk to people, just where we were at that moment. But I had to grow. I had to get out of that every dark alley is somebody waiting for me. So let me be ready with my stuff. You had to get out of that because the truth is,
yeah.
in every dark alley, sometimes nobody's there. And but the just the paranoia of it, the training you have as a child, and what you see, what you think is normal outside of what the full census of how the world is really run in the world that you're graduating to is interesting. Now please continue. I just wanted to say that if people turn their back on you and you had new friends you couldn't really trust, because at this time you don't know if they're sending more people at you to bring you down even further now that you have a target on your back.
Yeah, man.
So speak to me on
Yeah.
how you maneuvered through that for someone who might be dealing with that same situation, because we've seen a lot in college, right?
Oh man.
We've seen our classmates be murdered. We've
Yeah.
seen brawls, and no disrespect to our school. Our school was amazing. The structure of our school was amazing. It was just some of the people have yet to see a different normalization, and it took a while for us to understand the privilege in which we walked in. And some of us had to really
Agreed.
hit the pavement in order for us to really look up and see that we could be stars.
Word. Word. What what that did for me is I truthfully, man, like I was depressed for a minute, man. Like I was depressed for a minute because I couldn't, I lost my sense of being. Like I said, I lost myself. Like, dang, like who am I? Like now I know what the world is labeling me as, Now, mind you, I'm going from HBCU, um, at South Carolina State, and I had to come back home, Um, I had to wear that failure moniker for a minute. I gave myself that. Nobody gave that to me. I gave myself that. So that was really on me. And I really had to, and that was me focusing on the negative side, not realizing the positive in that while my charges were still pending. That was April of 2002. While my charges were still pending, in that August, I enrolled in a Clemson University. So, I went from HBCU to a PWI, predominantly white institute. And I remember standing in front of the judge in Orangeburg County. And he's got my transcript from both South Carolina State. And this was December at this point. This was December, from August, April when I was charged. And I'm standing in front of the judge December that same year. And he has my transcript. He got my work log because I had a little job on campus at the local grocery store. I'm still jugging, of course, because I got to pay these legal fees now.
Yeah.
But I'm moving a little cautiously. But I remember standing in front of that cracker ass judge, and I say that I mean what I say when I say that. He looked me dead in my face. How does somebody like you get into Clemson University? I'm like, damn, he finna throw the book at me. And I'm like, wow, like this is my first charge. I've never been caught doing anything. I didn't even have a speeding ticket at this point, And for him to say that to me, he already had me pegged. He had me viewed, and this is what really woke me up. That woke me up because that was a huge hit to say like, damn, how did somebody like you get into Clemson? Now, I'm clean cut. No afro, no dreads, no gold teeth. If you didn't know what I was doing, you never would have known I was selling drugs. You would have had no clue. I'm Carlton on campus. You know what I'm saying? Like you never would have knew. I had the perfect cover, but that cracker saw me as something different. And there's a difference between crackers and white people. And that was a cracker. And for him to say that to me, it did something to me in two different ways. It kind of hurt my pride, but at the same time, it made me be like, hey, damn, that's really how they see us. And from there, man, like at that moment, that really, and I really believe it was him. It was that dude that day standing in front of that judge that kind of gave me a new life. Like not only am I finna beat this, but I'm about to turn this whole thing around. And and it was an energy. I just kind of woke up one day with that energy. I woke up one day. It was something. I went from depressed to, all right, game on. Let's get this shit going. So, and I can't say that it was all me. It wasn't something that I did. It was just that, the universe is talking to me now and it's telling me, get your ass up. We got things to do. We can't just sit here. And we got a lot of ground to make up because you stepped in this shit. We got a lot of ground to make up now. So get to work. And that's pretty much what happened.
How important is it to leave where you're from and rebranding yourself?
It is very important. It's very important because I graduated. It took me a long time to graduate. I was supposed to graduate I was supposed to actually graduate college in 2003, but I didn't graduate until 2006. So it took me a little bit longer to get my undergrad, and which is okay. And just because I was still still 1 foot in the hood and 1 foot in school, still doing that. Just I gotta make up for lost time. I gotta be smart with it this time. I can't, my eyes gotta be open. Once I graduated, I was gone because I gave myself, all right, I'm gonna be finished in December of 2006. So January of 2006, I'm done with that game shit. Now I got the game plan on what this is gonna look like. And that's pretty much, and that's pretty much how it happened. But that's difficult when you're still in your environment and you still got your everyday homeboys that's still into that lifestyle, even though you're trying to do something different. It's easy to be a product of your environment at that point, but it's up to you really. I mean, you don't necessarily have to leave to rebrand yourself. It's up to you. It's up to every individual. Even though I was in that lifestyle still there, I had my mind made up on what I was gonna do. Like, I'm gonna get my degree in this, and this is what I'm finna do, and that's what I'm gonna do. If you don't have weak-willed individuals, are the ones that need to leave to kind of find themselves, to not be influenced by others. Those are the ones who really need to leave. But for me, once I graduated, I did leave, and I didn't move anywhere but 45 minutes out of the way. I went from, those of who are familiar with South Carolina, I moved to Greenville. 45 minutes, 85 north. Greenville, South Carolina is per capita the largest county in the state. Predominantly white, of course. Upstate is predominantly white area. But, and I got into, imagine that though, not only am I a convicted felon, I'm also in that, but I'm a banker now. I got my first job in a bank. I'm a banker now. When have you heard of a felon handling other people's money, basically working for the feds? You're working for the feds in the bank. It's a federal institution. Okay, you got to go through fingerprint process, all that. How I got that, I have no clue, but it happened. Okay, and I guess it's the universe working in my favor, kind of setting me up to where I needed to be. Just moving out of my environment, again, only 45 minutes away, put me around people to open my eyes to different things, to kind of, because this is my first time making money, like, legit money. You can't, Most times I'm making money just to pay legal fees and probation fees and all that crap. You know, now we're talking big bucks. I'm counting hundreds of thousands of dollars every day. Now it's putting me in a different mind frame. That did I touch money in the streets? Yes, but nowhere close to. Now my position in the bank. I'm responsible for every single dollar here. That was my job. My job was to be responsible for this cash in here. Okay, and I ain't have enough money to break a bank. I didn't have that.
It's so interesting that the energy was still the same. The attraction to the money was the same, but it was just on a different side of structure. And I think a lot of people don't get jobs because they just don't think they should apply because of their history. And I take my hat off to you because you said, no, I'm going to apply and I'm going to keep applying until it sticks. And I think the first step is getting out and doing things. And a lot of people just psych themselves out. Their mindset says, no, this is not for me because I failed at this. No, this is perfect for you because you lived your whole life in this. You understand the structure. You understand how severe, all this money ain't here. It's going to be a problem. Now, it doesn't have the same street ramifications. But for some people, on that side, a legitimate side, that has the same ramifications because if they lose their livelihood, what are they going to do? It's a slow burn.
Exactly.
Versus the streets the streets might be immediate, but it's a slow burn on the legit side, which hurts even more because you start to see yourself die a little bit every day versus the alternative of the streets, which could be any outcome. Someone around you.
Yeah, man.
Talk to me about fatherhood and mentorship. Your personal story, what you learned from it so far. And I don't want the little cute fatherhood stories. I want the fatherhood stories where you look at your kid like, what are you doing? Like the frustration moments like, oh, did I act like this? Where am I going? What are you doing? How do you deal with that?
Man, any parent who ever said, like I tell my son about 8 times a day, but I would knock your teeth out. Like I say that to him. And it's no blueprint for this, man. Like I was able to, my father and I, we had a bond, man. We were able to talk our shit out. As I got older, he passed away in 2015. Our relationship withered, but we were able to get back. And that was probably the best thing I've ever done because I learned something from him. And, it's certain things that I missed from him. My dad did certain things for me to show me he loved me, but he never said it. He never said, I love you. And I was the kid who needed that. He never gave me a hug. I was the kid who needed that, But I never went without. I was always with him. I was always present. Anytime he went on a business trip, I was there, regularly. He did things to show me that he loved me, but he never said it and he never affectionately showed it. But that's something that he got from his father. Like I was just, his father was never there. His father wasn't shit. My granddaddy ain't shit nigga. That's just pretty much how it is. He just wasn't. So, he was like, well, and after I got older, my dad and I talked about it. He was like, well, I didn't understand you needed that. I was just trying to do for you what my dad didn't do for me. And I'm like, I get it now. You didn't really know. So what I just take a piece of that and, I try to build up on that, the things that I really didn't get from my father, and the things that I did get from my father, I'll try to apply to both of my children. I make sure every day I tell them I love them. Even though me and their mom are not together, I see my children every day. We talk regularly. I'm present, ever present. They're not here with me right now at this very moment, but they'll be here first thing in the morning. It's kind of like how it goes. So it's no blueprint for this, man. You just be present. Give them nuggets as they come. And a lot of us, man, when it comes to our children, we try to shelter them from hurt and harm, but really, I think that's doing them an injustice. Because once the word going to show them, it's going to show them in a rude way, And, so we try to expose them to certain things gradually to show them what's up. Um, and anybody that ever tell you, any parent, you're a parent. Every now and again, you have them like, man, fuck them kids. Like, you really, you have them moments.
It's like you love your kid, but there's a moment you're not gonna like them at the moment. And you
man,
own yourself in because they're not adults, they're not your equal, but their energy is the same because they feel they can disrespect you so much. And it's like, other adults don't even disrespect me like this. And you're like, you just don't know. I'm like, okay, you good. I have to hone myself back in. Talk to me about a gem that you give your kid.
Word.
Give me a gem. Give me something that you passed on that was a gem.
We do a mantra every single day, and we do it 3 times in that one setting. Like, we do it every day, whether it's in the morning or in the evening. I am, and I have a son and a daughter, and both of them say it. They say it in their own way. I started with my son when he was, before he could talk. I would say it to him in his ear, and then once he started talking, he started saying it on his own. I am a king. I will be great. I can do all things because God lives in me. I want them to have the mentality that it's nothing that they cannot do. Because of, especially my son being a black man, he's already born into limitations based on the world. And that's not a mentality I ever want him to have. I want him to reach in that back pocket because he says that mantra every single day, 3 times a day. I'm a king. Just have that mentality, and somebody tells him he can't do something because somebody's going to tell him, it won't come from me, but somebody in this world is going to tell him, you can't do that. And I can do all things. What do you mean? I can do all things. God lives in me. I will be great.
I love that.
And
a lot of people do not realize, in my opinion, that God is in you. Like, the God you seek is in you. And if I can break that down any further, I think blessings come from people. And having that mindset that blessings come from people you don't know. Sometimes things are just set up and you walk straight into a blessing. Sometimes it comes from people you know. But the God that you need to build and work on is the God in you. And you have to challenge yourself and make yourself uncomfortable to build yourself up. You got to shed the cocoon even more, even further. That's why when we see people do extraordinary things, we can't understand it. And they say impossible takes a week for them. They speak these things because they're activating the God, the universe in them that we all can ascend to. But a lot of us don't want to make the sacrifices of that.
Yeah. And I have my daughter say the same thing, but instead of I am a king, I am a queen. I will be great. I could do all things because God lives in me. I'm teaching them independence, to not really have to rely on anyone, but accept help when it's available. It's a balance, man. Because again, ain't no blueprint for this. It's just kind of, you learn as we go, man.
Well, you speak of there's no blueprint, but let me ask you this question. Should there be a basic training program for young Black men in communities? And what I mean by that is skill traits. For example, how to change a tire, balancing your finances, different things about health. Should there be a basic teaching when they get to the 4th, 5th, or 6th grade where community we now understand this is the basic level of education of being a Black man in this world, and also the community building up houses and families next to them. No one should not know how to read. We all should have read at least this one book so we can all communicate and have a basic level of understanding.
I'm gonna probably catch a lot of flack for this one, but that's, in my opinion, that's on the parents, hands down. That's on the parents, man. Like, if your mother and your father are not teaching you, or if you're an adult, if you're able to have children and you're not teaching your children those basic things, both men and women, then you shouldn't procreate. you're not mentally capable of procreating and bringing another life into this world if you're not teaching your children about finances, or teaching, as a man, teaching your children how to, you know, change a tire. Like the other day, yeah, it's cold outside now here in South Carolina, and you know my tire pressure going low. So, all right, so, you know, son, come on, let's go. Come on, stop at the tire pump and feel this. You know, I'm gonna show you what to read the me. This is how we do this. You find the PSI on the side of the tire. This is how much air we need to put in this. This is how you measure it. That type of stuff. Parents need to be doing that, you know. And sometimes, unfortunately, parents are not available. So as community got to step up and do the same thing. But for at the end of the day, it's all parents. They all got to be on parents. And if you're not teaching your children those basic things, then you shouldn't procreate. Simple as that. And I feel strongly on that.
So I respect your opinion. Let's dive into what your opinion is saying. So should there be something that we teach parents? Because there's so many nuances out there that invade our society, you know, whether it's drugs, whether it's working somebody 2 or 3 jobs so they can't be home with their kids, whether it's just a violent community. Sometimes parents don't have the knowledge that's passed on through generations to even know how to have financial stability or understand what the sacrifices are. Now, should we be training parents instead of children?
Catch them early. I mean, if you're training anyone, train children. Parents have the wherewithal to learn whatever they want to learn. Adults have the mental capacity. If you want to know something, you're gonna find out. You know, you want to, if you want to know, you know, who's doing who, or keeping up with the Kardashian crap. You go, if you want to know something, you're gonna find out. Simple as that. That's an adult trait. I don't really want to waste my time with grown people, because if you want to learn, if you want to know something, there's 1,000,009 ways to find it at this day and age. You know, now if somebody come to me and asking me, it's a different story. You know, one of my favorite parables in the Bible is the parable of the sower. And this is something I learned while working in the bank. This is why it's important to leave your hood, basically. It all translates. To leave your hood, to be around other environments, to pick up certain things. You know, one of my jobs was to teach financial literacy to, you know, to the community. You know, we would rent out hotel conference rooms and just do the basics with financial literacy, the basics, you know, ground zero stuff. You know, how to balance your budget type stuff, ground zero. And I would get so frustrated because, you know, it's to give you an example, man. I give you 2. One of my clients would go to CIAA weekend and, you know, get paid that Friday. By the time he come back, he ain't got a dime and ain't paid his rent, and now he got to pull his accountant to the negative, you know, just to pay rent, you know. And wow, boy, I balled out up this year. I'm like, really? You call that balling out? No, I call that you were stupid. Like, but you know, that's you know, I would be frustrated with that type of stuff. And now you owe the bank money. You paying the bank money to borrow money from the bank. Like, come on, man. You just had $2,000 in your bank account. What? Then I had in one of the most egregious situations I've ever seen in my life, man. And there was an individual.
You said egregious. I know it's got to be bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
is bad, man. This cat, him and some of his buddies made a song, and they sold the rights to it. Each one of them got 60 grand a piece. Okay, no, I take that back. They got 80 grand a piece. Excuse me. They got 80 grand a piece for the rights to that song that they made. And he would come into the bank every day, withdrawing this, withdrawing that. This joker spent $150 in a Waffle House. I don't know how you spend $150 in a Waffle House. I ain't never spent $30 in a Waffle House with people. So I'm trying to, like, you know, that type of stuff. You know, it was so bad to where, I probably shouldn't say this, but it's, you know, it is what it is now. It was so bad to where me and my district manager and everybody within our branch was taking bets on how quick he was gonna go broke. Okay. This joker blew 80 grand in less than 30 days. We all lost. Nobody was even close to 30 days. 80 grand in 30 days. And he would tell us, like, well, I know I ain't gonna get this much money no more. And he blew it, and nothing to show for it. No car, no house, no nothing. Shoes and Waffle House. That's it. And I would get so frustrated with that type of mentality within our community, because it was our people just doing this crap. And I got a nugget one day, Matthew 23, the parable of the sower. Some seed fall on thorny grounds. You know, some seed fall on stony grounds and scorched by the sun. Some seeds fall on the ground, but it's devoured by birds. But other seeds fall on fertile soil and produce 10s, 50s, 100s over, you know? And what I picked up from that was, out of, it gave 4 different scenarios, and out of those 4, only one scenario actually produced something. So what I picked up from that was, based on, I'm talking to 100 people about financial literacy, only 1/4 of the 100 is going to be able to receive the information I'm putting down. That's what I got from that whole parable, and I still carry that with me to this day. Like, even with teaching even my children, they only gonna pick up 1/4 of what I'm teaching them right now. But adults, I really don't want to waste my time with teaching adults, because like I said, you got ample. If you want to know something, you got ways to know it, and I think that's wasting our energy, and we should put our energy in better serving places. If you want to know something and you know that I know, ask. If that the whole thing of closed mouth don't get fed, that's real. So
A few more questions, man, and I'm gonna let you go about your day. How do I approach a man I have problems with?
Just depends on the problem. I mean, it depends on the problem. Every situation is different. Do you have the problem with the individual, or does the individual have a problem with you? So, I mean, I guess you got to get the root to the problem. I mean, before you can't really, no situation is going to be the same. It's more going to be, get to the bottom of the issue. Mm-hmm. What type of relationship do you have with this person? Is this a person that you see on a regular basis, or just a person that that you might just see in passing and it don't really mean anything? So every scenario is different. If it's a friend of mine that I got a problem with, or that I have a situation with, then I'm gonna approach it as that, like, yo, I mean, XYZ, and either there's one or two things gonna happen. Either we work it out, or we don't.
Right. Absolutely. We talk about leaving a legacy, but we mostly ignore major steps. Do you have a will?
I do, but that's not enough. A will is not enough. A will gets you nothing. If you was to pass away right now without a trust, a will into a living trust, a will is nothing, basically.
Will is just a formality. Educate us on trust, brother.
Well, a trust basically designates everything. It designates who gets what and where it goes. Like right now, if I was to leave this earth, my children would be square for the rest of their life. Depending on what they'll do with the finances, of course. Mm. But, based on what we've taught them, and their mother's extremely intelligent, so, she'll guide them in the right direction, But you have to set up a living trust, basically. Matter of fact, I thought I had mine right here, actually, because I mailed it to, I have my trust, I mailed it to people who I'm closest to in life. Mm. I mean, simple things. Like if I were to be in a vegetative state right now, leave me on there for 7 days, no more. After that 7 days, pull me off. That's it. And is, my mother has, control over that, as well as if my mother's not available, and I got another person designated for that too. Like even my bank accounts. My bank accounts have XYZ all the way down to the T. My businesses, XYZ all the way down to the T. Basically a living trust designates everything to where it should go and how it should get there. And if you have children who aren't old enough or 18 to be able to make those decisions, then you designate a person to be over that trust for them until that time frame, and nothing should be removed. You designate the principles. You tell them exactly what you want within the trust. Lawyers can help you do that. If you're working in corporate America, 9 times out of 10, they're going to pay for that for you. They don't tell you that most cases, but most companies have programs set up to where they pay for those type of things for you.
Wow, that's a lot of good information. That is a gem right there, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it. You need a will and trust, and look for your job, if you have a corporate job, to pay for it for you and put those things in place. You said something interesting to me. You said if you're in a vegetative state, those are one of the things that's on the list. Can you give us a few things off that list that we should be writing down in terms of like a skeleton that we should have in our top 3?
It's all based on who you are as an individual, on the tiny things you got set up. My top 3 is, I think about that because at any moment we could become incapacitated. Like anything can happen. If I were to fall ill or be in some type of an accident, I don't want insurance to eat me up. I don't want insurance. I don't want to be on no life support forever, just on the hope and the prayer that I come back. I designate those terms. 7 days, that's it. I want my family to be able to use their insurance money for whatever they need to use it for, as opposed to keeping my vegetated ass alive. That's important to me. I don't want to be, cremate me. Don't spend $10,000 on a casket for me. I ain't doing nothing with it. I don't care what it is. That don't do me no good. I'm here. My spirit is in another realm. My body is a vessel anyway. Cremate me, spread me in a particular place that's special between whomever spread my ashes, and use that $10,000 for something more beneficial to put towards whatever. Don't throw money in the ground for me. Don't do that. Just basically write out certain things to tell your money exactly where to go. I have a hefty life insurance policy. So I have it set up to where even within that trust with my life insurance policy, split it between my children. Of course, but here are the parameters. It's not necessary that they have to go to school or graduate college, because by the time they get to college, who knows what it's going to look like. A college degree at this point is, it's almost a high school diploma, and it's almost, learn something. It doesn't necessarily have to be a 4-year degree, but go learn something. Once you learn that thing, then use some of that money to start your own thing. Do what you need to do for yourself. Like just lay those things out. Lay those things out within your trust. What else is there that I have in there? That's why I try to find it so I can really go through it in detail. But those are the main things that I have right now. Even in those of you with jobs, most of your jobs provide you with life insurance. They provide you with some sort of life insurance. That that money, if you already have a outside policy, please have an outside policy other than your job. Because they can can you today, you ain't got no life insurance, and die the next day, then you really out. Then your family got to go fund me to raise money to bury you, and that's not how it should go. We should be leaving something for our people. Spend $40 a month for life insurance. But because I have 2 different policies, one with my job and one, that plays me, that my job will pay out 2 times my salary. So, I actually have that set up for, not my children are square. I got my children square with my personal policy. That's for people in my life that I actually love, like my brother. You know, my brother will be able to, you know, reap the benefits of my life insurance policy from my job. It's not as much as, you know, my personal policy, but who cares? You know, he gets something.
Yeah.
You know, lay out the terms on how you want to, on what you want your life to look like after you're not here, and the people you want to look out for. Lay those terms out. You know, I've seen, you know, a good friend of mine, husband's passed away in August, 39 years old, colon cancer. And sad, sad scenario, sad scenario. But it's certain things that her at 39, 40 years old that she's having to deal with that should have been taken care of on the front end. The last thing that you want to do is have somebody that really loves you is cleaning up your shit when you ain't here, especially your wife, because she gonna talk all kind of crap. This nigga gonna leave me with this stuff, man. You know, just make it easy as possible. We're already, the persons are already grieving. They're grieving your loss, and then they got to handle your business after the fact. That's not how it's designed to be. We want to make sure that transition is as seamless as possible. That way they won't be stressed out and just, you know, I've seen people throw away assets because somebody didn't have their stuff handled properly, and they just throw it away because they're just tired of dealing with it. You know, I'm just tired, man. This is another thing I got to deal with because things weren't laid out properly after they passed. So, I mean, it depends on you as an individual on how you want things to look. That's what I wanted to look like for me and my family. So those are the top things that I got on my list.
That is awesome. And I hope everybody received those gems and hears this man speak today. And check out Matthew 23, like he spoke earlier. Validation from your partner. It's like you win a championship when you meet the right woman, but can you defend the title? And what I mean by that is, once we put on our best selves to get the woman we want to stand next to us, do we have enough to come back the next year and defend the title? I mean, making yourself look good. Sometimes we sit back and be like, oh, I did it. You start getting the dad bod, you chill out. You're not working out like you used to. You're not stepping out with the fresh clothes. You only put your dope clothes on when you go with your homeboys, but you're not putting it on for her. How important is it to defend the title?
Oh man, it is vital. It is pretty much a livelihood, man. And you know, the one thing I've noticed even with couples and relationships, man, a lot of people, once they have children, they put all their energy into their children, but that's not how it should be. That's not even how it's biblically written. You're supposed to put all your children, you know, all your energy into your partner. And you know, your children, of course, you maintain your children, but your life source is your partner. That's where your energy goes. You know, you got to make sure that tank is full on your partner, you know, because neither one of you can give anything from an empty tank. So you got to make sure that each one of you is filled at all times. And I will say that's one thing that my ex-wife incorporated into our relationship, and it helped. And it helps us right now as we co-parent as friends, you know, because at the end, I'm still going to look out for her regardless of the situation because she's the mother of my children. I have the utmost respect for her. You know, you won't hear me say anything bad about her or our relationship because, you know, it didn't work. It just didn't work. The partnership just wasn't, you know, the partnership worked for where we were, but we couldn't grow to the next level, basically. And that's okay. That's just the nature of, like I said earlier, nature of business sometimes. But you gotta make sure, you know, that she did a thing. You know, how's your love tank today? And that's real. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. We gotta make sure that our tanks are always full because we can't pour into our partner if we're always on E. So, and it's up to us to make sure we uplift each other at all times. And you know, again, the partners are, you know, the man and the woman are the most important part of the relationship, not the children. The children are a portion of the relationship, but they're not the most important part. And I see a lot of parents fall into that trap regularly.
Hey, that's powerful. You are exactly right. And you should feel selfish about your partner, right? You should feel like You want them to be at their best at all times. So many people are afraid that their partner will outshine them. They kind of try to dim their light without noticing. They do things to them like,
Yeah.
yeah, wear that shirt. That's the good one. Knowing that's not the good one. It's just little things that you're like, don't even wear that dress tonight. I don't feel like it. All these people checking. Like, you should be secure with all of that and help pouring into them. I got one more thing to ask you that I came up with. It's called operating at 100%. Let me break it down. If you were operating at 100% in 5 categories, this is how I break it down for myself. I break it down into 5 categories. I operate in purpose, my health, confidence, money, and knowledge. If you can break those things down 20% each, within the last 24 hours, have you, like you said, love tank, but this is operating at 100%. Have you operated at 100%?
In all 5 aspects?
Yes,
in the last 24 hours?
0 to 20. So when I say purpose, you were living in your work purpose, fulfilling your needs. When I say health, you ate right, you worked out, you did the due diligence on your body. Confidence, you did it confidently. Money, you made a little money today, or you paid some bills, everything is even. And knowledge, that you read something, you learned something new and took it in.
Well, knowledge, I make sure that I'm good on the knowledge part. That's one thing I'm at a 20 with every day. As a small book, matter of fact, hold on, I'm gonna do a quick plug, bear with me.
Okay, let me see what you got. I hope I didn't show that in the video. Got my little plate going.
All right, quick plug. The Daily Stoic. The Daily Stoic. I'm not sure if you can see this, but this is
hold it to the camera.
This is something I read every day. I'm trying to. I guess my background kind of got it fuzzy, but it's The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. You can Google it.
Put it in front of yourself. Put it in front of you. Oh, it's still.
You see it?
No, can't see it.
I am. It's not working. See, no. Yeah, it's not working. I guess I don't want to plug it because the background got. But anyway, The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. It's basically 366 meditations on wisdom, perseverance, and the long art of living. It basically gives you nuggets throughout the year. Every day has a date on it, every day. And I just kind of pick that up and read it, it's short reads. It's very short. Charlemagne the God actually plugs it a lot in on his thread. It's a good read regularly. It kind of puts you, it kind of give you perspective to start off your day. So I'm good there. Health, I ain't shit today on health, man. I ain't gonna lie. I'm at a 0. I'm at a 0. Eating chimichangas for lunch, and and they did a bit of working out today. I'm trash today on the health.
But here's the thing about the whole category. For me, you judge yourself weekly, so you can still get a B+ if you work out. Every day is just letting you know where are you going. Like a map, where are you going for your personal interests and your personal lifestyle if you were grading yourself? For me, I augmented the percentages a little bit. Knowing that I receive knowledge daily, I put knowledge at 5% and put more on health, because I know I need to work out and need to do the things and make sure my body is at a place where I can do everything else with energy and confidence. So for me, that's.
But you know what though? Let me change that. man. Even though I haven't ate my best today, and I didn't really do, I've been okay for the, so far, Monday, Tuesday this week. I start my week off on Sunday. Sunday I started is the first day of the week for me. Sunday, it's pretty much, on the calendar. So Sunday is the beginning of the week. So I've been okay. I'm coming off that holiday high though with this food, man. So
Hey, let me plug a book for you in case you want to check one out real quick.
Okay, talk to me.
It's called Do the Work by Stephen Pressfield.
I heard that.
It's a short read, maybe about 100 pages, but it breaks down resistance. And resistance is something we deal with every day, just like we spoke of earlier about anyone can be resistance. It could be your mate, your family members, your parents. And you have to recognize resistance for what it is and push past it to do the things you need to do to stay in your purpose.
Word. Going back to the health thing, man. I do have a colonoscopy scheduled this week on Friday. So black men, get yourself checked out, man. We don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about that enough at all, man. I'm 39 years old, and I've had, like I said, I had a college buddy pass away from me, another buddy of mine diagnosed with colon cancer, and of course we all know Chadwick Boseman, same age group, 45 and under, so black men, get checked out, man. Even if you're not feeling it, even if your doctor say, well, you're not that age, push to get checked out, man. So I get, based on that, I give myself a higher grade on my health.
That's interesting. I went to push for that where I am located, and they told me, no, you're supposed to come back in 2 or 3 years. And I'm like, I don't know about 2-3 years, because one thing at being at South Carolina State, when I didn't recognize when Dr. Spate, who I believe is head of the Sigmas, he always used to say, black men need to get their prostate checked. And we used to laugh, but we're being young teenagers. We're like, man, what? But now I get it. I get it. He put that in my brain, like, you need to go and make sure your health is good. So ever since I hit 30, man, I was like, yeah, I need to check on this. And to talk to people around me and other black men who are older, they some of them had polyps, some of them had got things that they were able to get past because they were, headstrong about their health. You got to be headstrong about your health. Absolutely. Yep. I agree with you 1,000%.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. You are now a part of the Silhouette Boys Club. It's people like you who move in the shadows to help people like me shine. Please today tell us how you feel, where we can find you, if we want to talk to you. If you want to give out any social medias, we would love it. It would be awesome.
I feel pretty good, man. I feel like I feel honored to be able to speak with you, man. As you even asked me, I feel it as a blessing, man. I definitely appreciate the opportunity. So thank you for having me. As far as where you can find me, my social media, I kind of keep that private. I do post my children a lot, and I don't believe in having strangers being able to look at my children, so I do kind of keep that private. But I do have a public page on where me and a group of black men are building our community. We call ourselves the Pendleton Rhinos. Pendleton, Pendleton, Rhinos. We created this that in the end of last year, beginning of this year, before COVID really took off, to be able to, be the driving force in our community that we need to see of black men doing things that we don't see us doing. Like I said, we hosted a voters registration drive. We did a turkey drive. We're doing a toy giveaway within our community also. We're also getting involved in politics within our communities. That's one thing you don't see happening within where we're from, and it took me to leave my hood to go back to the hood to be able to, instill some of those things that I've learned along the way, and myself and those other individuals that we are on the same squad with. So you can follow us at Pendleton Rhinos. It's Pendleton, Rhinos is RHINOS. And that's both on Facebook and Instagram. That way you can kind of keep up with our progress and what we got going on. We're determined to change the outlook of our community.
Man, that's wonderful. I'm gonna have to get down with you guys and let people know what we got going on out here as black men in our community. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for being a part of today. Like I said, we appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jazzman Wideman.
All right, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Love.